Look at this. Just terrible. So of course I wanted to do as much of the rigging by myself as possible, and so I called a rigger and we made a plan of action on how best to accomplish that. The basic plan was that I would bring him a set of shrouds, he would make the new ones, and then I would install them. So with the mast looking straight, I marked the turnbuckles where they were so that when I took them off we could get them back to the right length. To do the lower shrouds, I brought the rigger a forward lower and an aft lower from opposite sides of the boat, and then from that he was able to make a complete set of lower shrouds. To do the upper shrouds, I needed a temporary stabilizer, so I used a cow hitch on a halyard and tied the ends to the tow rail on each side of the boat. Here I'm untying the safety wire that was around the end of each spreader. Tempted to go up higher just to see it, but I shan't. So after I was all done installing the shrouds, I did put on a spreader boot, but I guess I didn't have footage of doing that. Like all sailboats, the port lights leaked, so took them off, cleaned them all up, scraped all the old gunk off, and used a marine grade sealant, not 5200, just a sealant. There are 8 of these rectangular port lights on the boat, and they're all showing their age. They all have cracks and stuff, and when I took this one apart, the outside retaining ring just shattered, and I got lucky and found a ring that was close enough at a boat salvage yard, and I modified it a little bit and managed to get that one back together. I only found one workable ring at that salvage yard, so for the rest of the lights I just sort of scraped off the outside and resealed it from the outside as best I could. after installing the bulkhead, I took the boat out for my first sail as captain of my own boat. And when it was time to come back, fired up the motor, put it in gear, and heard this nasty grinding sound. And got towed back, and it turned out to be the set screws and the woodruff key in the coupler sheared off. And in my naivety, I simply replaced the set screws and woodruff key. I should have just replaced the whole coupler, but I didn't know any better, so I just simply did the set screws and woodruff key. Repacking the stuffing box. And by we, I mean packing and restuffing the bag. Why is Peck doing all the hard work? Because the stuffing box and the jam nut were so corroded that I couldn't break them free. So I needed Peck's muscles. And then he's such a great guy that he stayed and helped do the rest of the project too. Also, I was pretty nervous about doing the stuffing box while in the water, and Peck has actually done it once before, and so he said, "Oh, it's no problem," and he jumped down there and showed me how it was done. According to the internet, easterly 30s only hold 20 gallons of water, and that's not nearly enough for cruising around. According to the previous owner, the original fuel tank had a leak in it, so he installed a new one in the lazarette, and I chopped out the original tank and built a platform for the new water tank. Here's the finished water tank. The original plan was to use that ball valve to switch between the tanks when filling, but that was very much a hassle. And so I installed the other tube, which was originally the gas line, and so I put in new tubes and ran it down to the original water tank, and then used the other fill there for the drinking water tank. I used to have a filter installed here, but I've since moved it to right there, and that's the water tank project. And I installed this hand pump for the drinking water tank. I noticed the fresh water pump was a little wobbly, so I went ahead and replaced it. I checked the internet, and to get a Westerbeek pump was like $300 and something, and a little research found that I could get the Kubota land-based version of the water pump and only paid $125 for that. So for some reason I didn't record me painting the pump, so I painted it engine red, with an engine paint, and installed that. And I'm sorry I don't have the installation video of that. I figured with the coolant already drained, I might as well check on the heat exchanger. So I took one of the caps off and thought it looked pretty ugly in there. So I removed the whole exchanger, dipped it in muriatic acid, repainted it, installed a new zinc, and then put it back. And I installed this bow roller. The previous owner was just putting his anchor line through there, which I was not a fan of. I used a PVC board to make this gap happen, and then I used a lot of just sealant. I didn't use 5200, just used some sealant. And on the other side is also starboard and fender washers. And I also installed a new Dacron line here for the roller furler. Previous owner had a cord in there that was stretchy, and I installed a new topping lift. The previous owner had shock cord in there, which just seemed silly to me, so put in a 1/4-inch Dacron for that. And I also made this sweet screen for the hatch to keep the bugs out. It's not pretty, but it is useful.